officially call this meeting of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to order. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Commissioner Kirschner.
Okay. Thank you, our heads. Dear Lord, please watch over and guide us during our deliberations. Help us do what is in your best interest and the best interest of those of Seneca County. And please bless all present and those they care for. Amen.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Zoller?
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
We'll have the signing of the journal, and I'll accept a motion to approve the DVD recording from our previous board session, which was Tuesday, September 29th, and the index of that meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as outlined.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Approved. Thank you. Any adjustments to the agenda? Anything that's not on the printed agenda anybody wants to add?
Just an update on the museum and where we stand at with getting the contract out, or we'll just,
Okay. Who would? Oh, okay. Stacy, anything to add? And Mike, nothing?
Nope.
Okay. Then under old business is museum, and you're in referencing to the facility, the building improvements. And we were going to attempt to set a place for bid and all that,
They were supposed to have the bid documents ready this week.
but we don't have them yet.
I don't have them. I don't know if Tanya's got them, but I don't have them.
Yeah, it looks like the numbers will hold true for the initial phase. Somewhere approaching $100,000 is their estimate for the porch and the foundation. And that will be what they put together, a spec form for us to get together and bid out. And as Stacy said, we will have that sometime this week, according to the conversation. We did have a long conversation with them regarding timing of getting projects back to us, and they promised they would be better.
okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Kirschman, did you say you had a conversation with them? Who's that?
Palmer.
Palmer, okay. Now, they're writing the specs up, and then at that point, we can let it out for bid. And what time length do we have to let it for bid? 2 weeks?
Yeah,
A month?
we do advertising for 2 consecutive weeks, and then we have to wait for 2 weeks to allow them to come in, so about a month.
Realistically, it ain't gonna be done this year then. I just can't see how, to get a contractor as busy as everybody is to be able to, so it's really gonna be a spring.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
but the goal is we're gonna do everything at once.
Yeah.
Well, the first phase, basically, I mean, there are a number of things that they're gonna list that
Yeah.
could be done, but to try to shore up the building, to do that all at once, so to speak, yes. We also have, weather-related issues with the roof at the CSB building. And we're supposed to get the specs on those as well very soon. And that's, hopefully, I don't know what that number was. Is that a biddable
Not,
number?
yeah, not quite 100,000.
Not quite 100. So, the museum and the CSB building were part of what we had hoped to have done by the end of this year. It looks like neither of those two will be. Now, the roof is possible, more possible than the museum.
Well, the CSB, if I can recall, we were doing the roof in 3 phases. It was I tried to think, I thought it was a $300,000 project. We would do 100, 100, and 100. And is there something that's in addition to that now? This is.
Well, at the beginning of the year, remember, we had the leak issue in victims assistance area. We put a temporary patch on it, but because the way the roof was coming, we were kind of forced to do the last sections together instead of doing them separately.
So we
because
did
had
2
the-
phases then at one time? We did
Yeah.
roughly
Well, it's more-
$200,000?
No, it's more of a, it's not 300.
No,
It's
it's-
more of a 30-30-30. It was more of a.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's a $100,000 roof. And again, it's been appropriated and we're ready to go with it, but timing may not be the best.
So this will be the final phase in that three-phase program that we're talking about?
Yeah, which will only have 2 phases now since.
Okay, so we did phase 1 and 2, and now this is, again, we broke it down into 3. One,
Initially,
two,
that's
been
what we
done,
were
this
gonna
is
do,
third,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. But we had a pretty good leak in victims assistance area, so we had it temporarily patched up.
I got a stupid question. Of course, I got a lot of stupid questions. What do we pay, and no comment there, Mr. Kirsten. What do we pay Palmer? I mean, are we paying them by the job here? I know.
Yeah.
when
First
we-
of all,
It's
we-
per job, they're not on a retainer or anything.
No,
Per
they're
job.
not on a
We
retainer.
haven't paid him a dime. at
Yeah,
this
we
point.
at this
I
point,
mean, you gotta know that. You know, once they complete the specs, I'm sure they'll send a bill for the museum. But hopefully, at least for now, they're on it, and we'll have some answers here quickly.
Okay, 'cause, I mean, I know when we were looking at Palmer with doing the whole electrical, the grandiosa plan,
Efficiency.
that was a bid, it was a start, there was a finish with it. Now that's done.
Yes.
Right.
So now, every time we go to them, if it's a CSB, we get a bid from them to go ahead and write the specs, and there's a set cost to that.
Yeah, they set the,
And then the same thing with the museum, I think it was $4,000 is
Yeah.
what I recall.
yeah.
That they-
Well, we have, Freddie, we have control. In other words, if they come to us in the museum and say, we think it's gonna be $100,000, and we say, okay, we're gonna get somebody else to do the architectural work, we could do that.
Yeah.
But what we said is you just go further and do the work and get you ready for bid. The same with the roof. They can say, well, here's an estimate, and we can say, okay, stop, we'll get somebody else to do the rest. So we're not obligated to them for any long-term issues.
Yeah, it's a job-by-job basis. But I just was trying to get a understanding of the costs to all this. You know, I hate to spend $4,000 if it's an $8,000 job.
Oh,
You
right.
certainly can appreciate. Okay. I'm fine. And the advantage of Palmer is they are more astute on specs and what needs to be done versus us and our late responsibilities.
Yeah.
Well, they have some knowledge of the county buildings. They, we've worked with them for a number of years. Not saying that's the only answer, but
Right.
it is a relationship that's grown over the years. Hopefully, we can retain that as long as we can get done what we need to get done in a timely manner.
Have we fully implemented I'm getting kind of off the subject here a little bit, fully implemented the electric, well, there's supposed to be a monitoring of the electrical uses in the building, and I know we had issues with the phone company and trying to tie it on. Where do we stand at with all of that?
Well, because we don't have the network put in yet, that's a little harder to, we have to go to each building to monitor the system. Since John's been on, he hasn't had the training for that system yet. He still needs to schedule that, to get his training done because, the other gentleman has gone, so we have
Yeah,
nobody
there's
trained on
training
that.
left, yeah.
But because we didn't have the network put in place, it's just a little more inconvenient, but Tanya, I think, is still tracking that, because some of the systems were replaced, some of them ended up being insurance claims, actually. But in theory, we should be,
Yeah, I know that we spent, I recall, about 800,000 to make all of these improvements, and one thing that I've asked Tanya, and I don't think she's here today, so I can't, but I'd like you to follow up with that, is you can't, the reason we spent this 800,000 was to have a reduction in our electric usage. And I know you can't really compare bills because the rates keep going up. So what I ask is that we could start evaluating usage of kilowatt hours. And then, because again, we said this, we're gonna do this, and if I recall, it's about a 5-year payback. The previous commissioners that approved it, and I'm still supportive of it.
Yep.
But I always like to see, after we're doing it, after we spent the taxpayers' money, let's make sure that we're getting the value that we thought we were getting. And
Right.
the best way to do that is through
tracking that.
monitoring the kilowatt hours. You can't do bills because the darn things keep going up, and,
Right.
yeah. So I would like to see, we've got now about a year and a half behind us here.
About a year.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of have an update on that. I think it's important, as we spend taxpayers' money, hey, was this a good thing, or
Right.
do we not get the benefit? Because that will also, in my mind, justify the Palmer. It'll keep using them if they're the ones that made the suggestion and laid out this whole plan. Well,
Right.
it's a way to have a little checks and balances here.
Right.
Okay.
And I know some of this, I wrote down to make sure we go over what the schedule was. We got strategic planning coming up. And it's, so much of the stuff kind of leads back to that, but that's, you know, discussion pre-meeting about the third space and then your building stuff. And I know that this with the network, and that's falling under our IT stuff that we're looking at and gonna bring forward to that report what we've discovered and directions we think we need to go. And it's gonna be really interesting when we have that, because I think we're gonna have to really put everything out there and then figure out, you know, we're gonna have to prioritize that list. And it's, obviously, we don't have a big old bottomless checkbook or pot of gold or anything to use, so we're gonna have to prioritize that stuff and work through all that, so that's coming up real quick. All right, so nothing else on museum. As far as our reorganizational task team, we meet again tomorrow, and we're meeting at the museum tomorrow. So we have that going on. Nothing else for old business? We're not ready for the bid opening yet, a little early, so we go on with the new business.
Okay, I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation, the housing revolving loan fund, putting $60,000 into contract services. I have an appropriation adjustment within the M&R fund, moving $30,000 from contract projects to repair parts. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the general fund. This is putting $78,452.65 into salaries. This is the sheriff's 27th pay, part of it. He's moving the rest of it. And that's what the next appropriation adjustment is covering the rest of the salaries instead of asking for it all in a supplemental. He is moving stuff around in his accounts. So I have an appropriation adjustment, moving $1,000 from the supplies to he's got from the roadside to the jail side. Another $3,000 moving from his supplies to contract repairs, $150 from supplies to uniforms, $2,371.69 from supplies to salaries, $296.46 from supplies to salaries, $1,181.85 from supplies to salaries, $818.15 from contract repairs to salaries, $600 from contract repair to PRS, $3,500 from contract repairs to Medicare, $81.85 from contract repair to salaries, $30,000 from contract services to salaries, $718.15 from contract services to salaries, $7,100 from contract services to PRS, $14,500 from contract services to, losing my lines here, PRS, $2,681.85 from contract services to salaries, $2,000 from training to salaries, $8,865.50 from equipment to salaries, for a total moved $78,865.50. I have a resolution accepting the resignation of Rob Chappell as intermittent paramedic for the Seneca County EMS Paramedic Response Unit. Since the retirement of Chief Ennis, Chief Valentine moved up to Chief Ennis's position, and Rob Chappell's moved up to the assistant with the city of Tiffin. So he's got a lot more responsibilities there, so he has put in his resignation for the equity unit. So we appreciate what he did.
Gentleman we replaced last week?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. And he did start running with us already, put 3 hours in last week, so.
All right.
You want a motion, can we have discussion first?
You should have a motion, you actually should have a motion
Yeah,
first,
I'll
technically.
move approval.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the resolutions as presented. questions or comments?
Yeah, most of the movement, seems relatively simple to me. However, when we have such things as $30,000 from contract repair over, does that take away from some of the issues that need to be handled at the sheriff's office? I mean, or something's gonna be in a state of disrepair because we're moving it over to salaries?
A lot of the repairs that were done this year were covered under our contract services, and Tanya paid those. So he did have some left in there. His contract services were a little different because we should have a contract in place for each of those amounts. So I know he got away from the medical contract and they're doing it back in-house, so maybe that's what I don't want to say extra funds are,
Right.
but
Okay, I'm just
Remaining
concerned when I
balance.
see a number that big, that something maybe is getting missed.
yep.
Potentially was his contract, some of those contract services reduced with, obviously, the less inmates from the ICE program.
Yeah.
Well,
I
wasn't
don't know if that
some
would have
of,
changed or not, if that was kind of contract pending number of,
Yeah, I think it's his medical is the big one, since he's put that back in-house. Would be his big contract that he's reduced, saved some money putting it back in-house.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure some things aren't being deferred,
Yep,
that they're gonna come back and bite us, in the future. Cause there's some big numbers in there,
yeah,
if you total them up.
yep.
as I recall, we did there was a change, was it Honeywell or one of the things that we were just constantly getting dinged? And we did away with that contract and we went with another one. Is that where, did they budget in? I don't know if it's Honeywell or not. Did they budget in that one and that's where some of those repairs,
Were-
contract repairs are coming from?
That could have been, they could have left that in their budget, because we got away from Honeywell's contract and went to a non-proprietary system, so that
Mhm.
way our locals can work on it and it's not nearly as expensive, because that was a $35,000 contract.
Yeah, I remember it was very contentious at the time, and Honeywell didn't want to give it up, and then they had the proprietary equipment, and there was a lot of stuff here, so, I mean, if that's where some of this is coming from, then it's obvious we made a right choice by doing away with
Yeah.
that
And
contract.
with him moving some of this stuff shows us that there's some room in his budget to reduce, since we will have a large,
Just remind Bill that.
Yeah.
Sheriff Eckelberry in the coming weeks, okay?
okay, any further comments or questions? Call the roll.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes,
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes, all approved. Alright. We are still a little bit ahead of time before we can do the bid opening.
What's the bid opening for?
The CSB.
Elevator.
Elevator. So we can have citizens' comments at this time, we could go to that. Is there something else, anybody else want to bring up about anything? Any citizens' comments? Okay, seeing none there. So let's talk about the schedule a little bit, because I did want to go over that.
Okay.
We have the strategic planning on October 20th, is that correct?
correct,
And that is in the morning, because that's our quarterly evening meeting, and we are in Bascom.
Correct, Hopewell Township.
So that
House.
is 2 weeks from now. Next week, normal time here. Next week, we have anybody coming for work session?
Next week? No,
No.
not yet.
We have a work session next
what is
week.
strategic planning?
Supposed to have a
again?
work session
20th?
at 9:30.
20th in the morning, we'll
Yeah,
do that at the
yeah,
RTA
okay.
building. I think we decided to do it at the RTA, because
There's 9 o'clock budget
Yep.
commission meeting and
so we were
then
gonna do it right after.
10 o'clock strategic planning.
You guys are moving way too fast. I had to turn my phone off because I had too many complaints about
Then we have
this.
audit review at RTA building at 11.
What? You turned
that
your
day.
off,
Is that
Bill?
right?
Yes, I did.
Oh, sorry.
Audit review.
Can't be October 25th, that's a
And
Sunday.
my calendar on that one.
The
And at
20th.
7 o'clock that night, we meet in Bascom.
Yes, and that group will be in Bascom, and we'll be more than happy to come. The one you asked me, Chad,
Oh, Holly,
Yeah.
okay.
that they'll
yeah.
be, they said they're more than happy to come to that meeting.
Okay, good, I can find it on their GPS. I
And the
think.
Yep.
13th, the 13th is, we got work session next week.
Yes, we're scheduled for one, we have nobody scheduled to come in yet, but we are supposed to work session at 9:30. So I said we leave it, we may end up with some things.
And what else did I hear next week? Did I hear a budget?
Quarterly. meeting, budget tonight.
Oh,
Budget commission at 9.
okay.
Then the other thing I have is on the 15th at 1:30, the commissioner session for Blanchard River Stream.
Yep, that's a call, that's a conference call here.
Say it again.
It's a conference call that's here.
Conference call here,
That's-
but at 1:30 on the 15th.
Yep.
Moving way too fast on me here. That's 1:30 here.
Yes.
Finally get caught up.
It's okay. And then the 20th, again, is our strategic
Yeah,
planning
20th.
session. Fairgrounds?
Strategic planning.
No, RTA.
RTA.
Since we'll be over there for budget commission, we just decided to have it
No,
over
I
there.
got, I got audit review.
That's at 11. I've got that at RTA at 11.
What's
What's
the
the
audit
audit
review? Because we had that already. We had the,
I don't have my calendar.
I don't see that on here.
you got the audit review?
I think, I have it on mine. It must be a final version of the audit, because this was, the one that they gave us was a,
Yeah, and we've received the final.
Yeah, I don't,
that may be done.
Maybe she was just holding dates.
Yeah, 'cause
Maybe
there's
she was,
nothing on our calendar
maybe she
for
was
it.
trying
okay,
to.
so that one is not there on whatever, the 20th.
They'll
No,
check
but
that.
Fred,
They'll
Okay.
we
use
have a
something.
GIS meeting at 2
Yeah,
o'clock
that's at
that
2
day.
o'clock. Yeah. I got that.
Okay.
And then,
The 29th, we have the Bascom Alley vacation at 9.
GIS at 2 o'clock.
Yes, and yes. The viewing is at 9 o'clock in the morning.
9 o'clock at Bascom.
Yes,
So we get to go to Bascom twice next month.
yes.
No,
This
it's
month.
it's this month.
This month.
Later this month.
That's at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay.
and the 27th is canceled.
27th meeting is canceled? Oh, yeah, I got,
Hey, we're getting all our calendars together. This is
That's
good.
That's good.
It's a good thing.
That's good. Good to have you good at stuff.
I'm good deed for the week.
You got that on your calendar, Tom? 27th, we won't be here? Take a day off.
So that meeting that week is the 29th, and I'm gone. All you guys.
Really?
I don't know who's vice
Oh,
chair.
no.
Fred vice chair?
Fred is vice chair.
Fred will have the gavel, Mike, beware.
He made Mike do it last
Yeah.
time.
Well, give me the hammer, I want a bigger one.
That's so easy. We have the commission meeting in the evening, the 29th, is that the deal, or?
No.
20th.
We'll have board at 10.
That's regional, or chamber meeting is that evening. Maybe you have that down.
I do, Camden, at 5:30 is the chamber annual meeting, Freddie, on the 29th.
The chamber, I got, where? No, I got commissioners meeting.
Yes, but there's also the annual meeting for the Chamber of Commerce, the 29th at Camden Falls,
The
What time?
29th, the
5:30.
meeting
Oh,
here
really?
is in the morning.
5:30 to 6:30.
One at a time here. I can only comprehend so much. Okay.
How about I just print you off a calendar?
I got my own list.
And we made him turn it back on, so.
Yeah, that's right, it wasn't my intention. Okay, chamber,
Chamber is 5:30 to 6:15, cocktail, 6:15 dinner on the 29th.
God, it surprises me you'll make it for a dinner, huh? Hmm.
Feel the love.
So,
Yeah.
that's not the annual meeting, not in the fall, that's in the spring.
Well, it says the Chamber annual
It's
meeting.
their
yeah.
annual meeting.
101st.
Well, I was
what the
thinking the SIDEC
invitations
meeting is always. Okay. Is that Camden?
You can call, let them know they got the wrong date if you want.
It's the 29th, and it's at, what time did you say it is?
5:30.
Okay. You gotta admit, Holly, we're awful fun to listen to.
So we're not even gonna talk about November. Let's not even go there. Let's just stick with the current.
Well, the good news is October the 30th, nobody has anything.
There you go.
I do. can't tell you that.
So and the big question would be, is when is trick or treat? Is that?
Oh, boy, that's another thing. 26th or something like that? No, 25th.
25th. The parade's the 18th.
That is the most important question the mayor says he gets in the month of October,
25th.
that he gets repeatedly.
Who has trick or treat a week before trick or treat?
Right. Yeah, why
Get the heck out of here.
Crazy.
Seriously,
I know. Should be on Halloween.
6 days later is.
Well, I think the Opportunity Center's parade is the 18th,
Yes.
so they don't do the parade on. Alrighty, well, we've got a few more minutes because it's a bid opening. We really cannot do it until the time gets here. So,
How many bids do we have so far? We have one more, we'll have two. All right.
I did run some numbers. Fred had asked at one point what we thought maybe a 3% and a 2% increase for employees would be. So I ran some numbers the other day. The only thing I'm not sure of is the elected officials with some of the changes in the legislation. Some of the elected officials now get increases. So I figured it both ways with all the elected officials and without, just because I wasn't sure which one with their terms, because we haven't figured all that out yet, so.
yeah.
Give me
But
the figure without elected officials.
without elected officials,
General fund only.
general fund only, 2% is about 129,000, 3% is about 193,000.
And the,
Say it, 192 and 100.
129 and 190.
193.
We,
Total salaries is, for the general fund, is about 6.4 million without the elected officials. And I had to go back to the initial budget since the current includes the 27th pay, so I went back to the initial budget numbers.
And the open enrollment meetings for employees start
The
soon.
19th and the 20th.
So if we were going to address the HSA issue, are we required, or it just makes sense if we, I mean, I don't know that we're gonna be ready to make a decision on that before the first open enrollment meeting.
Right.
What's the open enrollment deadline?
Uh,
I mean, they start the meetings, but then there's obviously a deadline.
Yeah, I'm
You
thinking
gotta-
it's
You gotta have all
November.
your changes in
Yeah.
this.
It's a window, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have it, but it's out in my emails.
So it goes from the 19th until the end of the month or something.
I
Yeah.
wanna say something like the 24th or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
and just to refresh me, the HSA things, that was to increase the company contribution towards that. And I want to think that was, oh boy.
It's 500 and 250 right now.
Yeah.
We were talking.
Yeah, but what's the?
General
this-
fund.
I always look at what's the cost of the county?
Oh, it would cost, if we increased it at the
General fund,
36.
200,000 sticks in my mind here, is it?
not that high.
No, it was like 37, 38,000 we paid.
Oh, yeah.
HSA, we budgeted 37,000, Julie said we've paid about 33,000. So if we doubled it to cover, and hopefully pick up some new, it would be about 68,000.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is it's an incentive because what the
Well, that's not it. I mean,
high deductible plan is doing.
But
is
you
get
could
some of
do-
the people that are the other plan to come over.
You'd have to do another calculation, because it would, on a gross basis, increase it by 33,000.
Yeah.
Right.
But then the people that took the HSA plans, our cost of premiums would be less. So it's
Yeah.
a dynamic process. You've gotta say,
Yeah.
okay, if we get 15% to change to the HSA and we increase it, what's the net?
You're right. Yeah, you're right. There's that.
So there is a.
And we'll have a better window once open enrollment's done,
Right.
before we pass budgets, but that's just the number held in there on my spreadsheet, working on budgets for next year. And that could, if you wanna do somewhere in between, that was just figures for the 500 and 1,000.
I know you probably don't know this offhand, you wouldn't have any reason to. If you do, I'll be surprised, but do we know the difference between what a family contribution is under the non-HSA plan and the family contribution the county makes under the HSA plan?
The county's contribution is the same. The employee's
So if it was
contribution,
an HSA or not, it wouldn't matter for the
right,
county.
for the county.
So there isn't really a calculation to do.
No,
No.
the county's is,
I-
because the
I thought-
buy-up
On the
plan,
premium, you mean?
Yeah,
The premiums are different, isn't it?
not to the county. The employee picks up the full portion of the buy-up plan,
Oh.
the increase.
so the employees, we're paying 80%
Yep,
of what the HSA would have been now.
yep,
Gotcha.
And so it's an 80-20, but if they choose a richer plan, if you will, then they pick up the
they
difference.
pick up the difference.
I got it.
Yep, the full difference.
So by increasing the HSA, well, yeah, by increasing the HSA, we would not save the county any money, it would be the staff that save the money.
Yep, and then hopefully, you know, in the long run, back down to get everybody on the HSA.
All right, 10:31, I bet you it's
All
time.
right. Did you have a bid you brought in, veterans?
Nope.
No, okay, just making sure. We didn't, we missed something was laying out there, because we don't have this time, is that? You need to check, make sure nobody's.
Yeah, I'll go look, make sure there's more actual.
Roxanne, did you bring us an in sheet?
Got some good tab sheets. Do you
Oh,
want those?
she's got one.
She got one?
You got one? Or you wanna use theirs?
No, I don't have a big tab sheet, I can use yours. You guys just wanna sign in and pass it around, please?
You want a big tab sheet?
Since we only got one bid.
I got room on my paper here, I'll be good.
The bid we have is from Klaus Construction. And the estimate for the project, the $287,525, 287,525.00. And bid amount. No, that was his bid. Do you know what the engineer's estimate is?
265.
265, okay. So that was Klaus's bid, $287,525.
What is it? Is it, it's 10% over, it's gonna be rebid then?
10%?
It's not 10%,
Pardon, it's not?
no.
Was there some figure?
Yes, if it's 10% over the estimated cost, then it has to be rebid.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
26,000 would
But the bid is
be
not
over.
Yeah, I know it's not, that's,
So we're not.
yeah.
Correct.
But if it's 10% over the estimated, then it's gotta be rebid then.
Correct.
So we're under that.
Okay, we'll have our engineer review it along with regional planning and come back with their recommendations.
Any questions while I'm here? Because there was some provisions on there.
Yeah, what was the time schedule provision we ended up with on that, because this got moved back because of stuff going out, but
They-
I don't remember.
Go ahead, Ron.
We called the state and verified that as long as we spend $100,000 by the first of the year, that will qualify the time frame that was established by them to have the money spent.
Okay.
So the project does not have to be completed by the first of the year, but if that portion of the monies needs to be spent.
Expended. And the plan for starting and that kind of stuff is, do we know or not until?
Well, as soon as we sign a contract, we're assuming if all the paperwork is in order, the bonds are in place and appropriate, then we should be able to award a contract very soon.
We need to coordinate this around because the CSB, and they do the Board of Elections uses the basement. And so we want to coordinate this around so it's not around an election.
Yes.
Should be after November 10th.
Yeah. So we got November
Before
and
March
March. November and
15th.
March, we gotta make sure
November
that
3rd.
November, March, and.
Or is it November 3rd?
No, It's November, March, and
Okay,
November of
sorry.
next year, we gotta make sure we're clear.
Construction period.
The first Tuesday?
Well,
Yeah, first Tuesday after
I
the first
need to-
Monday, you're right.
I need to bring it.
It's just as early as can possibly be.
Materials.
No, 'cause
It's impossible to get it done 90 days from award.
Spend $100,000.
I can get materials. I need to make that clear, that this can't be done in the 90-day period from award of contract. It's because the materials aren't available. For 4 months, it is minimum to get materials.
To get the stuff, okay.
And that can't even, that 4 months can't even start until we go through the submittal process and we go through the drawings and permit process. So we're months away from starting, but we can order the materials this year, which will be a good chunk of that money. So you'll be able to spend, you know, whatever that is.
How long is it?
CDBG amount.
What's the estimated time of the project to complete then, once the materials?
Once the materials, we can do it within the 90 days.
Okay, my concern might be that if you're concerned about elections, about the March election, we got, let's say everything is done by November 1, you got you need 4 months then from then?
Well, he won't have materials that
No,
quick.
you
is what
could
he's
start the
saying.
4 months now and then do it right after
You won't have-
the March election.
We can do the actual construction anytime, as long as we have the materials.
But
And
you're saying it'll be 4 months before you have materials.
Yeah, so we're into February.
Well, I think what he's saying, we originally discussed with some of the suppliers what delivery dates were gonna be on some of the materials, and they anticipated 6 to 8 weeks to have
Oh, okay,
materials.
6 to 8 weeks.
And the actual construction time is probably 6 to 8 weeks. But some of the materials are not gonna be available for them to do the work, and so they won't start the work until they have the materials, correct me if I'm wrong, Howie?
No, that's correct.
Until they have all the materials in place, ready to do the job, because once they start, they don't want to take up a lot of time tying up the elevator, so they want to get the work done in a shorter period of time as possible. So when they get all the materials, they'll start the work and finish the work. They'll be finished well before March, and I anticipate that they probably won't start until after the 10th of November. So that gives them approximately 6 weeks to work on the project or receive materials and do what we need to do to meet the state requirements for the grant.
Because there is liquidated damages if you go over the 90 days in the contract, and like I said, it'd be impossible from award to get it done in 90 days, just because of the materials.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know. I introduced Mike
No.
Arnold. Mike Arnold is the engineer from TFC that's working on the project with Roxanne. I don't know if you met Mike yet.
That's why I didn't bring him in.
That's why I didn't bring him in, yes.
Oh, I bet
wondered who
he's,
you
I
were.
bet he's with the other guy, but I,
Mike Arnold was
They talk about you all the time.
involved.
Yeah.
I hope it's not bad.
No, it's good.
So you're with who?
Well, we were TFC, Architects and Engineers. About the spring of this year, we were acquired by MK Power Associates, which was a electrical power company, was our consultants, and we're now Encompass Engineers and Architects. So we went from 10 employees to 22, so, and expanded our service capabilities tremendously.
And he's the one that did the project, Commissioner's project, the Commissioner's Building project.
Oh, okay.
Which we built.
All right. Used to teaming together, that's good.
We've seen each other before.
All right, anything else for the good of the order? Okay. A motion,
Move to adjourn.
Seconded.
a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Stay adjourned, 10:39.